Hello, my name is Adrian Bablinski, and welcome to my Getting Started with Unity tutorial series. When we left off, we created this lovely character that would move around and would collect these coins, and we made these coins rotate at random intervals. I believe they're set to 5 as of right now. And we're going to create an enemy script. Now, we're going to create the script so that there's a cube, and the cube will chase after you if you get close to it, and it will stop running after you if you make its sight and make it no longer see you, basically. And then we can build from there. Maybe this could be like a maze game or something like that. And we're going to make it really cool with if the enemy hits you at least once. If the enemy hits you once, you will die and the game will reset. So to get started with that, you'll be like, how do you make an enemy script? We just created this player script. So how will an enemy script look like? And that's a really good question. And we start off by going to our scripts folder, right clicking, create script, and typing enemy. Enemy. There you go. If I spell it correctly. And then we open this. And my Visual Studio is loading up. For you, it could be mono-develop. It doesn't really have too big of a difference as far as coding goes, or at all. So you could really be using any type of console. So to get started, we're gonna make this enemy AI in states. And why states? Because any AI works better that way. If you have menu systems or anything with complex systems, complex steps, it might not be more frame efficient, so you might not be saving too much memory or anything like that, but it definitely is cleaner. So you could be saving some power in your game, and you will also be able to make it cleaner for anyone else to read the code. Okay, so to do that, we need to know a couple things about states. And for that, I'm going to get my favorite tool out, Paint. And let's type in Paint. And here we're going to have states, which you have one variable, right? So to do this, I'm going to hook up my little tablet. Okay, so a state machine has something called states, which are it's a condition, or a switch that allows us to call a certain void or a certain function. So you could have a state identifier. So for example, you'll have a box as a state identifier, and in that, this state can be in 3 different groups. So you'd have a list like this. So you'd have a list like this, and pretend this is like a chef, right? So one would be buy food. The other one would be cook. And the other one would be, clean. So after he's done cooking, he's cleaning. Oh, let me write that better. Oh, A-N. Okay. So he buys food, cooks, or cleans. And he can't do these all at the same time. So he'll first do this, then he'll do this, and then he'll do this. And there's certain parameters that will get him to do these things. So to buy food, he might start at buying food, right? And then he'll go to cooking if he has all the ingredients, right? So he'll go to cooking if his grocery checklist is A-okay. Then after he's done cooking, So at the end of cooking, so once he runs out of all the ingredients, he cleans because he has dirty dishes. So that would be another bool, let's say dirty dishes. And then after that, after he's done cleaning, we could say he'll make food again, and we'd call this function back up there. So that's basically what our enemy is going to do. But instead of food, he'll have 3 other states, and those states will be a looking for, then he'll have a go to. So when he finds the person, and then he'll attack. And he'll start out looking, right? He'll go to if the distance, so if distance is at a certain length, right? So if it's less than something, he'll go to, and then if distance, this pin needs to be recalibrated, is less than the following, he'll go to attacking, right? So basically we'll be all playing with distance, and then here you'll want him to move, so those will be his actions. Here he'll just be sitting around, and here he'll be subtracting health. So that's how a state machine looks like. And now we can, since we have kind of a rough visual, we can see how that looks in code. So let's get started with that, and let's start off by making our states. And the way to do that, we just do public, and now we do an enum. So that's, if people are familiar with JavaScript or something, then that would be their list. It'd be an enum, and we can call this whatever. I'm just going to call it state, but this as well could be called, tools or tips or whatever. It's just a name. And here we're going to say all the steps the enemy will go through. So he'll go through look for, and the best thing is to capitalize, because that's how most enums are written in the professional world. So look for, go to, and then we have attack. And after that, we need an identifier that will see this state machine, and that will be just a public variable, and it can be private as well, but I like to see it switch to different states for debugging purposes. And we're going to call this state, so we're just grabbing this name and putting it here. So state, and then we also name it something clever like cur state. And after that, you can cycle through these states. And before we even get started with the program, I'm going to show you how that looks. So I'm going to save this off, and this needs a comma actually, and because it's a list, and it'll, you can continue it down the road, or if it doesn't, but I'm pretty sure it does because this is giving me an error. So it does. Every line does need a comma. So I'm going to go back into Unity, and I'm going to make an enemy object. So I'm going to do that by going to Game Object, 3D Object Cube. So this guy is going to be our enemy, and we're going to name him enemy by just clicking onto the name here in the inspector, and bam. We can also then go to our colors folder, create material, and call it enemy color, and we can then drag this onto the enemy to give it a specific color, kind of like we did for the coins. Instead of white, let's make it red. A not too bad of red, kind of blend in together. And now we can also drag and drop this enemy script onto here. So we can shrink this menu, just drag and drop my enemy. And we see that cur state starts at look for, because that is the first in our state. And we can cycle through this, and that's how it will look inside the inspector, and in each of these states we will have a different action. So that is it for setting up the state machine, and in our next video we're going to set up all the actions that will happen inside of this state machine.